down tonight. Make me wanna get down, baby. Get up on that floor. Feel the vibe is right. Yeah. Touching on your body. Touching. Girl, you out of sight. Give it to me now. Let me feel the sweat. It's dripping off my face. You don't feel so good, baby. The way you move, you make me move. Baby, wanna get down, wanna get down. Oh, baby, the way you move, make me wanna get down. Baby, wanna get down, make me wanna get down, baby. Girl, you look like trouble. Yeah, my girl, she gets so sweet. Baby, I can't stop moving my feet. Grabbing on your hips, giving me the green light, kissing on your lips. Girl, she the way you move, you make me move. Baby, wanna get down, wanna get down. Oh, baby, the way you move, make me wanna get down. Baby, wanna get down. What's up, family? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva, and knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. I know it's been a while since I have interacted with y'all, since I have done a live stream. So I'm going to try to keep this down to an hour because I do have to finish getting some things lined up. So nevertheless, I wanted to do at least an hour live just to catch up with y'all, just to see how everything is going, see how y'all doing in the clouds. So in case you're interested, the tune that I was playing is not by Marvin Gaye. I know a lot of people says that he sounds like Marvin Gaye, but he is not. He is an artist by the name of October London. His album is really, really nice. It's called The Rebirth of Marvin. And when I tell you, this guy is phenomenal. He sings just like Marvin Gaye. He's just a younger version of him. And it's very rare that you have artists this young who have that type of, who have that old school vibe, who have that old school appeal. So nevertheless, I'm definitely in love with his music, but he goes by the name of October London. So nevertheless, I want to get into this right away. The last time I uploaded, it was last week. And that is when I showed y'all a video that I got from a channel by the name of Hezekiah News, where I talked about the mindset of Black women during the 70s and during the 80s, and the reason why a lot of Black women, the way they think about things, the way they reason with things, it has a lot to do with how they were raised, how the women before them raised them. Has everything to do with how their mothers raised them, with how their grandmothers, and the women who raised their grandmothers like their great grandmothers. So it's this narrative that's been pushed around for centuries, that not centuries, but for a long time, a lot of people pushing this narrative that is modern women, modern women, modern women, modern women. It is not modern women. Modern women are just repeating exactly the same narratives, the same principles that has been passed down from generations to generations. A lot of women think the way they think today because of how their mama raised them, and the way their mama raised them had a lot to do with how their grandmama raised their mother, and how their great grandmother raised their grandmama who raised their mother. So proof in case, I'm going to be sharing with y'all on my screen part 2 of the mindset of why modern women think the way that they think, and it has a lot to do with the mindset of the older generation. So I'm going to be sharing the screen with y'all. Again, it's from the channel Hezekiah News. And even though this video, the interview was done in 1985, which means I was 5 years old when this story is broadcasted. And when I tell you the way these Black women thought during the 80s is pretty much the same mindset that a lot of women have adopted today. So anyway, we're going to go right into the video, so that way y'all can pretty much have an idea exactly what I'm talking about. So we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and then we're pretty much go. Oops, wrong one. We're pretty much go from there. So we're going to share, and I'm going to be pausing in between as I reiterate and give my comment as we go along. All right, and hopefully y'all will be able to hear pretty much what's up. Real talk, single fathers. Appreciate you for coming in. Yes, we're talking about the mindset of modern women and how it was developed by the broken generation. So we're gonna go ahead and play this video clip, y'all, and I'm gonna be stopping in between because I think it's important for y'all to understand the reason why a lot of women think the way that they think is because of how the women before them was thinking. So basically, it's just a generational curse. It's the same shit, different toilet, as they would say. So let's definitely get into it. By the way, y'all, this came out in 1986, which means I was 8 years old. I thought it came out in like 1984. But nevertheless, for those of you who are lost in the sauce that's just coming in, I'm showing an old interview that was done back in 1986, where basically there's this news reporter who goes around and interviews black struggling families, black families that are in poverty, black single mothers who are in poverty. And when I tell you, even though this information is old, even though this is an old video, this is old, this is an old interview, it may not seem that important to what a lot of the battles that we as black women are facing today. But unless you know, history definitely repeats itself. So I'm going to be interjecting in between. So right now what's going on is they're showing you the mindset of how young black males thought back in the day, how many of them only felt their way of becoming successful was through rap music, was through you know through hip hop, basically looking to find a way out of the ghetto, other than trying to work an honest job, other than trying to do something that was actually going to make a living for them to be able to provide for their families. But let's just get into it, and then I'll pause from time to time and interject. Hopefully y'all can hear me, so just press 1 in the comment if you can hear the video. Hopefully y'all can hear it. So just to pump the brakes there, what's up, American Negro, and everybody entering entering in the chat. Um, Again, this is basically content from 1986 when a reporter was going around interviewing um, young black men who didn't have fathers and also young black single mothers. And basically, he was interviewing all of these black families that were in poverty, basically getting down to the root of what has caused them to basically be raised in the type of environment, the reason they ended up becoming single mothers, the reason why they ended up in the streets, not having fathers. So basically, this has a lot to do with why a lot of black women and black men, the reason why a lot of them have the mindset that they have today, where they really see nothing wrong with the poor decisions that they make. And if you view this video here, it basically lets you know this has been a problem for centuries. This is not just what black women think today. They've been thinking like this. They've been reasoning with a lot of how they principles and their morals. A lot of this been started way before the modern women became such a hot topic in the red pill community. This has been an ongoing issue for years, and this video is going to pretty much demonstrate that the generation before us basically started this. They built the foundation as to why the black community has the type of morals and principalities that they have today. But I'm gonna continue with the video. Is it on mute? Let me know if it's on mute. Because if it's on mute, I'm gonna have to do something as far as the sound goes.
probably the speaker. That's probably why y'all haven't been able to hear. I'm gonna find out in a minute what's really going on with that. But okay, I think I found it. Okay. I hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. But turn this down. Okay, but basically, going back to here, she's 30 years old, mother of four with three different fathers. Okay, so like I said, this is nothing new under the sun. Okay, I'm still muted. If I still keep being muted, then I'm gonna have to let y'all know as this as I'm playing this clip if y'all can't hear it. Because usually when I'm recording it, I can hear myself, but being that I'm live streaming, I'm not able to hear it. Okay, all right, hopefully. All right. Well, y'all can hear me now. I think the problem is when I try to pay the damn video, I don't think y'all can hear the video. So that's something I'm just gonna have to pause in between and kind of let y'all know what's going on as far as that goes. All right, so going back to that, she's going to explain how she ended up becoming a single mom. She's basically saying, she's basically explaining her struggle as a single mother. Of course, because she's by herself, you would think after she saw how hard it was with the first child that she would have not continued after the first father of her child disappointed her. You would have thought that would have been enough to make her pump the brakes. But like I said, women back then, this is the way women think today. This has been going on for ages. There's so many women right now, and we all know some. We all know we got sisters, we got cousins, we got friends. We all know that chick on the block already was struggling with the first one or two. Already wasn't getting help from any of the baby daddies with the first one or two children. Yet she went on and had a third. Then she had a fourth. Then she had a fifth. This is the mindset of broken women who already are in the struggle, but yet they will not change their mindset. They will not change their lifestyle to prevent getting in another struggle. Know what they do? They add on another struggle on top of another struggle till it keeps piling up. If it's already hard trying to raise one child, trying to feed one child, you're already not getting cooperation and help with the first father, yet you have a second child from another baby daddy who also disappoints you, who also is not there to help you support your second child, just like you didn't get support with the first child. This has been an ongoing issue, and we still have that very same issue today. A woman who's already broken, she will keep adding more weight, adding more pain on top of the pain that she's already still struggling with. This is the mindset. So the reporter just said Brenda was 14 years old when she got pregnant with her first child, which is this young man here. Okay, I'm sure he's not young now. He got to be every bit of probably in his 50s or 60s now. But she was 14 years old when she first had him. We'll continue. Okay, and his father was 15 years old. Then when she got in her 20s, the reporter just said she had 3 more children after her oldest son, and those 3 she had was also unplanned. Do you see the pattern here? This is the struggle. This is the unfortunate mindset of a lot of these, a lot of broken Black women today. Now, notice I said broken Black women, not Black women, because Black women, that's a general, that's too broad of a statement. That's putting everybody in the same box. Most of the time when a woman is broken, meaning she lacks self-worth, she lacks self-esteem, she lacks confidence, she will pretty much settle for anything. And anytime you have a broken Black woman who will settle for anything, she will make the worst of choices when it comes to men, when it comes to her with her lifestyle. She will most likely opt and choose the worst. She will most likely make the worst decisions. Again, that comes from not having any confidence. That comes from lack of wisdom. Also, it comes from lack of being educated. You have to also understand, a lot of women back then, just like women today, a lot of women are uneducated. And as much as we try to discredit education and say you don't need college degrees, you don't need to be educated to be successful, that's true in some ways, but I beg to differ, because when you have being educated means you're being exposed to other things in life, to other areas in life other than the hood, other than your family dysfunction, other than your environment. Once a person is educated, once a person becomes educated, their horizons tend to broaden, tend to expand. And this is why it's very important, and it's more than just getting a college degree. It's more than just saying you went to college. It's very important that Black women have some sense of education and knowledge, because once a woman, a broken Black woman, has adopted the lifestyle of being hood, she's going to have that hood mentality. She's going to have that hood thinking. She's going to reason with things, reason with life with that hood mentality. This is where the ratchet culture comes from. This is where the thought culture comes from. It comes from lack of wisdom, lack of education, and definitely lack of a family foundation. Yeah, also the uneducated slam the ones who stayed in the books. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, Tanya. What's up, Michelle? Yep, and this is the reason why the broken Black women of this generation, they are so screwed. They are screwed mentally, they are screwed emotionally, and they are screwed educationally. It all started from women, their aunts, their mamas, their grandmamas, who was born in the 70s, born in the 80s, unless she's willing to change that generational curse and teach her children different, teach her daughters different from what she was raised, it's going to continue to be a rinse, repeat cycle. Now, the reporter just said she gets no financial support or any support from any of her 4 kids' fathers. She got 5 kids and 4 baby daddies. So she does not get any support. So what the reporter is asking her now, what makes you think, well, why are these men walking away from you and abandoning their responsibilities? Why are they not supporting you? Why are they not helping you with these children? So she's getting ready to respond to him now, in case you can't hear the footage. Exactly, Tanya. Sadly, I have seen the results of this from ladies that I grew up with in the 50s, with that 50. What's up, King Ba? That's what I'm saying, Tanya. That's why this narrative that I keep hearing, modern women, modern women, modern women. It is not modern women. This been going on for centuries. It started from our great grandmothers, our great grandmothers, our grandmothers, and our mothers who have passed down this dysfunctional thinking of it's normal to accept just being a single mom, having kids for multiple men, and just learning how to survive in the struggle. And survival is not good enough for me. What about avoiding the struggle? Why do we have to keep surviving the struggle? Well, let's continue. Now, her explanation was when the reporter asked her, "Why do you think, uh, men aren't being supportive? Fathers aren't being supportive of helping single mothers such as herself to raise the children and also financially contribute?" Her explanation was, some men just don't want to take accountability. Some men just don't want the responsibility. That's true. I agree with that. However, you didn't know that with the second, with the third, with the fourth baby father. When you had one man fail you with one child, yet you felt comfortable to let a second man fail you with another child. Then you went a third time and you let a third man fail you with the third child. Now, if she got 5 kids and she got 4 baby daddies, she had 2 from one man who failed her twice. Do the math. Now, she further said her second explanation for why she's raising all her children by herself, because she said that most of the time the fathers feel like them doing their part and helping with the children would require her to be with them. Now, that could mean sexually. That could meaning that if she wants them to be a part of the children's lives, that means they have access to still use her, take advantage of her. Some of these women today have that same mindset, because the truth is, this isn't all the time, but you do have some men, not all, who feel like the only way they're going to be there for their kids is if they can have ownership over the mother, meaning they can still pounce on her every once in a while if he still wants to get laid, or if he still wants a place to stay and crash. In other words, if he cannot use his baby mama, he does not want to help her raise the children or be responsible for the children, because in his mind, that means he's not benefiting. If anything, that's making him be responsible versus him being able to benefit. But this is the men that she chose. What's up, Tawanda? Right, they think because you have their kids that they got access to them. That goes on today. Yes, that's what I'm saying. This is old news. Same shit, different toilet. Do y'all see the pattern? How history is repeating itself? All of this is back in 1986. Okay, some of us back then still had Similac around the mouth. But isn't it very ironic how the way women think back then, they still think that way today? It's very ironic. If you can't hear the footage, I'm going to be letting you know what the reporter is asking her and what her response is anyway. So just bear with me. Now, I'm noticing this a lot with black women, broken black women. I don't like putting all black women in the same box. She said something very interesting. The question he asked her was, what does she feel about her children? She said her children are her everything. Her children are her world. Her children are her friend because she does not have a husband. She does not have a companion. So she feels like her children fulfill the void of that. I beg to differ. This is my opinion, and some women may feel some type of way. I don't care how much you love your children. I don't care how much your children are your friend. Your children cannot 100% fulfill the void of a husband or companion. Now, I'm not saying that you're less of a woman if you're not married. You less of a woman if you don't hurry up and find you a pookie and move him into your apartment tomorrow. But I noticed that a lot of women who have made the same repetitive mistake of getting knocked up by a deadbeat over and over and over. This wasn't a one-time mistake. You going on baby daddy 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now that you see you have continuously failed yourself and failed your children, now in order to fulfill that void, or in order to not have to really face the disappointment of the choices you made as a woman and as a mother, now you make your children your everything. I notice a lot of women do this a lot. When the baby daddy has failed them, or when they have consistently failed themselves, they put all of their love into their children. Now, this doesn't mean that you're not supposed to love your children and you're not supposed to make them important. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is a lot of women are substituting children for companions, children for husbands. And this is one of the most fatal mistakes that a lot of us as black women do. It's not good to use your sons. It's not good to use your sons as your replacement husbands. It's not good to use your daughters as your best friend because all of the men you chose have failed you. So now you're using your children as a replacement to supplement and fulfill the void of you not having a husband or a companion or a real man that was going to bless you with the privilege of being a good father to your children. Women do this all the time. My kids are my best friend. Listen, I love my daughter, and my daughter's 22, but I'm going to be honest with you. There's things that my daughter cannot give me that I need from a man. And you could call me a mammy. You could say I'm a pick me, Patricia. I'm sorry. Your children cannot fulfill all the voids you need as a woman. They cannot. As a woman, you have needs. I'm sorry. You have physical needs, spiritual needs. I don't care how much you love little JJ, little Peaches, and little Nene. Your children cannot fulfill the void of having a companion. Now, children do bring light into your life. And I really believe that had it not been for children, a lot of us would have probably made even more poor decisions, because your children do make you think about stuff before you do things. I could do that, but I don't want to end up in jail or in prison because I don't want to lose my kids. I could do that, but I don't want nobody else. I don't want my kids being put in the system and my family having to raise my kids and my kids being mistreated. So children have saved us from really messing ourselves up. But what I would not say, it's not healthy, ladies, for you to make your children your everything just because you don't have multiple baby daddies who done failed you. I'm sorry. It does not work, because there's going to be things you're going to go through that your children are not going to be able to relate to or understand. You need a male companion. I ain't talking about any type of Pookie. I ain't talking about poverty Pookie who's broke, busted, and disgusted. I'm talking about a real man companion, someone who sincerely cares, somebody who sincerely loves you, somebody who sincerely wants to make sure you straight, who's not going to watch you suffer and sit there like, I don't know what you want me to do. There's a difference between a man and a Pookie. I ain't talking about picking up a Pookie. A lot of the broken black women in the black community, y'all want to make y'all kids y'all best friend. See them all the time on social media. They talk about their kids every day. Is there something else you can't talk about other than your children? I don't get me wrong. I love to see the kids. I love the kids. I love the kids. I love to see the kids, you know. But what else do you have going on in your life besides talking about Little Peaches and Little Ray Ray? Tanya says, what's crazy is that they will lean on their kids when they're grown. That's the part I was going to go to, Tanya. If they have some type of income to live off of them from being on a system for so long. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was the next point I was getting ready to make, Tanya, and you hit it on the nail. She's going to be one of those moms, if she hasn't already, because she took care of all 5 kids by herself with 4 baby daddies. She's going to look for those kids in return to take care of her. Now, don't get me wrong. When it comes to having a family, you're supposed to take care of each other, be there for each other. But the unhealthy part about this, when you make your children your everything and you don't have a companion of your own, what are you going to do when you 60, 70 years old, and because you made your children your everything, now you don't have a companion? Point in case, I got an aunt right now. She made her son her hubson. And what I mean like by that, she centered her whole world around him, that she never was able to get a male friend, never was able to get married, never was able to get male companionship. I think it's healthy for a man to have a woman or for a woman to have a man. I don't care what the Red Pill Raging Brothers are saying, that black women, black men need to be by themselves. I don't care about the Bitter Sisterhood Committee who says black women need to be by themselves. I'm not buying it. I think every good black man deserves a good black woman. I think every good woman deserves a good black man. I don't think God put any of us here on this earth to die alone. I'm not believing in that. I'm not believing in that a woman is supposed to be by herself, or a man is supposed to be by herself. God created man and woman for a reason. We're supposed to connect and complement one another. The problem is you have to be willing to connect with someone that's equally yoked to you. That is the problem. Having the wisdom and the knowledge to understand who would make a good compatible companion. That is the issue. What's up, Devin? How you doing? That's the problem with the black community. So this is my problem with women who think like this. My kids are my friends. I don't need a man. I got my kids. BS. There's things that a man can do that your children can't do. Matter of fact, let me tell you how ignorant it sounds. It's kind of oxymoron that you would sit up here and say you don't need a man, but yet it took you to get a man to have a child. You got single mothers that'll tell you they don't need a man, but they couldn't have a child if it wasn't for a man. Yeah, King Bob. The kids are the retirement plan. I agree. This is what she said. This lady here, that's what she said. Her kids are her besties. They are her everything. You don't have a companion. You don't want a partner, somebody who you can share something with. Y'all can travel together. It's just going to be you and your kids. I don't think so. Proceed. Now, the reporter just asked her, would you like for your children to be married? Would you like for your kids to get married one day? She says, yes. And she further says, I especially want my daughter to get married. Okay, but wait a minute, ma'am. You just said you don't need a man. You just said you are okay with raising all of your children, all 4 of your kids, 4 baby daddies, 5 kids. You just said that you are fine doing it by yourself. Which one is it? But she just said she wants her daughter to get married. Which one? So is it good being alone or is it not good being alone? Okay, so you want it for your daughter, but you don't want it for yourself. Do y'all see the irony in this? Now, she said her boys, on the other hand, she knows that they're probably not going to be married. They're going to be playboys. Well, I guess so, because you may plan on making your sons your Hobsons. Of course, she would say that she only got her kids, and probably she got a friend that's in the same boat as she to bounce back and forth all the negativity around them. Yep. And this is the mindset of a lot of broken Black women today. She wants her daughter to get married, though. Now, my thing is this. Are you going to give your daughter the tools, the knowledge to not do what you did so she don't end up in your situation, and one day she can possibly do get married and do things the right way, do things different? But if her daughter did get that man, she's going to later resent her daughter for simply having it because she didn't. That too. That is the problem. The other issue with a lot of the broken Black women in the community, a lot of them are very jealous of their own daughters. The daughters who do make it, the daughters who do break the generational curse, the daughters who don't become another statistic after being in the midst of their struggle, who decides to go out and say, you know what, I'm going to do it different. I'm going to build a family. I'm going to get married. And we know marriage does not guarantee that things are going to be perfect. But in the event she chooses to make a better decision from her mom will be happy, but hating on her at the same time. Happy that her daughter is living a better life, but at the same time, she'll be hating on her daughter. I know a lot of women right now, that Black women who don't have good relationships with their daughters because they see their daughters have opportunities that they did not have coming up, or their daughters made decisions, better decisions than they made coming up, and they're angry with their daughters because they see their daughters are having the life that they could have had but chose not to have. Yes, a lot of that. I agree. Now, she just said she don't see her sons getting married. She believes she believed that they're going to follow their father's footsteps. So if you believe that, why aren't you trying to do anything different to change it? She's already accepted the next generation of failure. Listen, anytime I hear a woman say, oh, she's going to do just what I did, she's going to end up just like me, Or if she says, oh, about her sons, oh, he's going to end up just like his daddy, that means you're not doing anything different to prevent that generational curse from repeating itself. You have already accepted that your son is going to become the very man that's going to fail other black women, just like his father who done failed you. Exactly, Tanya. This lets me know you have a lot. Some of these broken black women, they set their sons up to become failures for other black women. If you are a black mother and you had to raise your son and do all the hard work, do all the parenting on your own, the main thing you should be doing is encouraging your sons to not go around here and knock up other females. That way you don't have a whole nother breed of black women that are becoming single mothers just like you have. Because the truth is, a lot of black women out here, they really don't educate their sons. They don't tell their sons how to protect their penis. They don't tell their sons how to have discipline. And the unfortunate part is if his father is not in his life and not teaching him how to be a man, not teaching him how to have discipline, not teaching him to protect his Johnson, not teaching him to cover himself, he's going to go out there and repeat that same generational curse of creating a lot of single parent households. His father wasn't there. So guess what? He's going to normalize that same mindset, and he's going to go around here raw dogging multiple women unprotected, and he's not going to see nothing wrong with leaving the women alone to carry the bag by themselves, because hell, his daddy did it, and hell, his mother raised him and all several of his siblings alone. So in his mind, that hood mentality has already been programmed. He sees absolutely nothing wrong with it. And if the father is not there, as a black woman, you need to, as a black single mother, you need to educate your sons how ruthless these females are out here, how ruthless child support is. Make these young black men understand that once they impregnate the wrong type of hood rat mindset female, that she's going to make his life a living hell. Every check he makes, the majority of his check is going to go towards her and the child he created from her. And the majority of young men who impregnate the mother of their children at a young age, they end up abandoning the children because they cannot take the pressure. They're not mature enough to deal with the heat. They're not man enough to be able to deal with the consequences that they have made. Proceed. I'm going to skip this part. And I'm going to say this. There's nothing wrong with teaching your children about the Lord, making your children go to church, but don't just think that only the Bible in church is going to teach them about life. You have some mothers that's so overly religified, that's so overly infatuated with Christian living that they forget to teach their children just simple life lessons. You cannot leave it on the church and the pastors and the ministers to teach your children right from wrong. Because truth is, church cannot prepare your children for all the obstacles they're going to be facing. You have some people, I know some people personally, who kept their children in church, and that's all they did was keep them in church. They didn't teach them the facts of life. They didn't teach them anything about the streets. They didn't teach them about having common sense, being able to have discernment when it comes to getting sexually involved with certain people. They just keep them in the church. You have a lot of black families who think that religion is the answer to everything. Point in case, I have a family member right now who I would not mention respectfully. He kept his children in church all their life. Since they've been knee high, they've been churched all their life. Okay, all of us know that one black family who have been churched all their life. Okay, not only he kept them in church faithfully every Sunday, every Bible study, every Sunday school, kept them in church faithfully. He also moved them into the suburbs. He never wanted to raise his children in the hood, and I understand that. I would never knock anybody who wants to move their children in the best of neighborhoods, move their children in the best environment and away from the hood. I encourage that. This was the problem. He kept them in church. He kept them in the suburbs, but he never really sat down and taught them the facts of life. You can't just keep your children in church and figure you don't have to tell them about the birds and the bees. You don't have to tell them about safe sex. He never did any of that. What ended up happening was 2 of them ended up becoming parents at a young age. He kept them out the hood now. One of them, his daughter, her first baby daddy came exactly from the hood. You don't tell them about the hood, they're going to become curious about it. Or somebody else is going to tell them about the hood, going to tell them about hood pookies and tell them in the wrong way. She ended up having her first child from a pookie because he did not sit down and tell her about these pookies out here. All he did was keep her in church, keep her in Sunday school, moved her in the quiet white neighborhoods, thinking that that was going to prevent her from getting involved with a pookie. And her first child's father was a pookie, straight from the hood. Same thing happened with his son. His son ended up picking up a Tatiana, a Dustiana, picked up a hood girl, had his very first child from that hood girl, and she's making his life miserable to this day. Keeping your children in church, making them just follow and study religion is not enough. You still have to parent them, and you still got to teach them right from wrong. Now, she did make a valuable point, before I exit, before I shut my video, before I shut this down in about 20 minutes. She made a point that unfortunately, where it used to be, it takes a village to raise a child. We don't have a village anymore. Families are not coming together like they used to. So unfortunately, kids benefit when they just don't have mama or daddy. It was important back then that kids also had uncles. Remember, I didn't just have my mom. I had my uncles. I had my aunts. I had my grandmothers. I had other members in the family who also taught me the facts of life. You know, kids need to know, children need to know if they're not comfortable discussing it with mom and dad, that they go to their uncle, they go to aunt. This day and age, you can't do that. You got family gossiping about each other. You got family thinking they one better than the other. You got families who done went different directions, and now because they done made a little money, or now because they got degrees, now because they live in the suburbs and they living good, you know, they don't keep up with family back at home anymore like that. Or if mama's still living in the hood, now that she's living in the suburbs, she don't want to visit mama no more. You know, the dynamics of family is different now. People only look out for them and their own. People, family now is only concerned about their own children. They rarely call and check on their nieces, their nephews. They rarely call their sisters and say how my niece doing, how my nephew is doing. The bond of black families has dismantled, has become obsolete. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that once black people were granted opportunities to better themselves, now that we can get financial aid, now that we have the opportunities to make just as much money, they get qualified for positions just like white people and people of other races. Now that we are granted the same privileges today, unlike what they had during the 80s, now family don't feel like they need each other as much. It's like, I got my money, I got my house. You know, black people was more closer to each other when they was in the struggle. When they was getting government cheese, people had to borrow sugar and eggs from each other. That was when family was the most closest. But now, in this generation, family is only for themselves. So, you know, it's a different ballpark. Okay, and this guy here, he goes by the name of Lamont. He's 31 years old. The reporter just said he was raised by a single mother, and he in turn has produced children of his own that he is not helping to raise. Remember, I just said it earlier, how young black men who grow up in households with single black mothers who do everything, what you think he's going to do when he impregnates his first black baby mama? What you think he's going to do? When he was raised seeing a woman do everything, he going to feel like, hell, I can knock up as many women as I want to, and hell, they can do it. My mama raised us, raised all 20 of us by ourselves. Time says even worse if they leave the hood behind and progress. Oh yes, and the mom's still stuck there with the mindset. It's kind of tough if the whole family got the hood mindset. Yeah, you can't do anything with them kind. I agree. And we all have that one cousin. We all have that one sister. We all have that one aunt that's just straight hood. You cannot expand their mindset. You can't try to introduce your nieces and nephews to different things, to something more fulfilling, because their mama and their daddy got a hood mindset. So I agree. If they already got that hood mindset program, then they pretty much a lost cause. You can only be there for the family who will allow you to be there for them. That's basically all you can do with that. So basically, he doesn't support his kids, and he's with a woman who has kids from other men, and he don't help her support her kids either. Doesn't that pretty much sound a lot like the way a lot of these dudes move today? He said he had to be the man of the house at the age of 13. And that's why it's very imperative that if you get involved with somebody, you know their family history. Because if they had to do a lot, if they had to take on adult responsibilities at a young age, they may not really want to help you be responsible for much of anything if they had to start being responsible at such a young age. So that's what he's saying. He had to be the man of the house at the age of 13 because there was no father in the home. So because of that, when he got a little older, he resulted into a criminal lifestyle, being deprived, his mama not being able to give him the best of things or the basic necessities. He resorted to getting in gangs. He resorted to having a goddamn hustle. And, you know, this is the thing a lot of single mothers don't understand. When you have a bunch of children like that, and they go around other kids and see other kids got nice clothes, nice shoes, and you cannot afford to give them the best, they end up in gangs who can promise to give them the best of everything that you couldn't afford to give them, or they're either end up robbing somebody or stealing, end up in prison. So it goes several other ways, but I'm not going to continue on with the footage. This is just a prime example that this has been going on for centuries. There's nothing anybody that there's nothing no one is telling y'all in these red pill streets, in these YouTube streets. Everything they have to say about modern women, everything they have to say about black women, all of this started way back when. And it just wasn't an issue with just black women being single mothers. This clearly states that a lot of men opted out of being fathers because they did not have fathers. Or they were raised in households where they saw their single mama do everything. So in their mind, when they did impregnate other women, once they became grown men, they don't feel like, hell, they got to do anything. I witnessed, I watched my mama raise all 20 of us by herself. So I don't, if she was able to do it, then my baby mama, she could do it. This is the mindset. He sheltered them. I take my kids to the hood sometimes to get my hood food that I like, mostly out restaurants. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think our black kids need to see a reflection of both. I think they need to understand the hood, how the hood operates, meaning they don't have to have a hood mindset. But they don't need to be around here thinking they better than people who are in the hood, or thinking that they're more superior to the point to where they get around hood people and hood people become intimidated by them, or hood people just start building this dislike for them. So it's important that from time to time that we allow kids to be around hood family. We allow kids, you know, to come with us to the hood to get a hot dog, to get some good fried chicken. They need to see what people in the hood, the poverty that they go through. It's important that we let them, expose them to that world, so they'll know how to conduct themselves around hood people. They'll know what to say and what to do. You don't want your children being so much of a square that they can't relate to hood people. They don't understand when you get around hood people, you can't be flashy. You can't be driving no brand new car. You can't be bragging about the new sneakers you done bought. It's important that kids have exposure with hood, but it's also important that if your children live in the hood, and I said this on my last video, just because they live in the hood, that don't mean you can't drive them around and show them the suburbs. drive them around, drive them out there to the country. Let them see there's more to life than just the projects and drive-bys and games. Children need to have that versatility. For instance, my daughter, she has had the exposure of dealing with hood people. But at the same time, she also knows how to conduct herself in a room full of white prestigious people. It's very important that you give children more than one different type of exposure. They need to know how to communicate with white people. If your kids are only around hood people, black people, how are they going to know how to conduct themselves when they get older and they got to be around white people, or they got to work for white people? Or you move to a neighborhood where they got to live around white people. Don't limit your children to just only being around blacks and non-blacks. They need to be around white people, Asian people, Puerto Rican people. Expose them to different cultures so they know how to conduct themselves. When I see hood kids act a certain way, or they talk a certain way, you can always tell when a child is being home trained, and you can tell when they're not home trained. As black parents, if you're a black mother or black father, you need to teach your children how to have discretion, how to read the room. My daughter would know when she was around certain kids who didn't have more than her to not brag about what she had. She knew that. She knew if she was around kids who didn't have a lot, she never bragged about what she had. But at the same time, when she got around kids who had more than her, she never made herself act like she was less than or feel less than. She knew how to still have that same confidence around kids who had a lot, because I trained her and raised her how to conduct herself, whether you're around people who got less than you or you around people who have more than you. It's important as parents that you teach your children how to read the room. When I see a child running all over the place, I see a child indulging in adult conversation, sitting in the living room amongst grown people, putting in their 2 cents in grown people conversation, and their mama and their daddy not telling them, this is grown folks talking, go in your room. You can always tell when a child is being trained. You can tell a child is being trained when as soon as 2 adults are talking, they go upstairs and they go in the room without their mama and daddy having to tell them, these are grown folks talking, get out of here. This got nothing to do with you. Go upstairs. Go in your room. And you can tell the children who ain't being trained, because while it's a room full of adults, you got that 8-year-old or that 9-year-old sitting right there in everybody's face, listening to everything that he or she should not even be listening to. And their mama and their daddy won't even check them for it. You can always tell when a child is being raised well. So nevertheless, I might do a part 3, or I probably may not. I think it's pretty much kind of repetitive at this point, because a lot of what I saw in part 1, I'm seeing in part 2. It's just history repeating itself. You seeing these black men with this mindset of, I don't have to be a father. That's a woman's job. She don't need me there. My mama raised me by myself and my father wasn't there. And then you have these single mothers who have convinced themselves to believe, I don't need a man. My kids don't need a father. Or they have just accepted the fact, my baby daddy is a failure. So I'm just going to have to live with it and do this by myself. The same mindset they have here. In 1986, They still got that same mindset in 2023. It's the same thing. This ain't no modern woman issue. Or this ain't, well, black men just started acting or just started thinking like this. They've been thinking like this. A lot of these people that did this interview back in 1986, it would be interesting to know where they are now, where they ended up. Now, the truth is, some of them have probably bettered themselves. Some of them probably did have kids that went on to be successful. I know some people who were raised in the hood, single mothers, got nice homes, got great jobs, got nice cars, and I know others who are now in prison. So your situation does not have to define your future. Your current situation doesn't have to define your future. Either you're going to learn from it, grow from it, or you're going to repeat and rinse cycle. It just all depends on your mindset and where you really plan on seeing yourself. But anyway, y'all, it's definitely been an interesting week. We've had a lot happen. With the Alabama incident that went on. I want to say a little piece about that. I'm sure all of y'all have witnessed it going viral. The incident that happened at the riverboat amongst the blacks and the white prestigious family who did not feel like they needed to respect the instructions of the black worker who basically told them that they could not leave their boat there, that they needed to remove their boat. They actually caused a big old hiatus over simple instructions. And as you can see, it really was an eye-opener for even white people to see all of the things that we have been going through as black men, as black women. The man was just doing his job, and come to find out, these Clorox folks, that's the best I can put it, come to find out, there's been a lot of issues with them. A lot of people coming out now, even white people who know them. The captain who actually operates one of the boats, he says he has had several issues with that particular family. Way before they pulled this stunt with physically assaulting this black man, they've been having problems with this family. So basically, what's been going on with that, it's not looking good for them. One of the white couples within that family, they owned a gas station, a store. A lot of people have been putting a lot of bad reviews about not going to their store, not supporting them. So they're losing a lot of businesses and income. So it's just been very interesting. But I'm very glad that everybody came to that man's defense. Nobody just stood there and recorded him getting attacked, because that's the problem with these damn phones. People just rather record instead of rescuing you. So I'm glad that a lot of people came to this man's defense. And it just goes to show y'all that if black people would stick together more and stop doing all this bashing and trashing and coming at one another, how powerful we could be if we wasn't always trying to pull each other down. It's this crab in a barrel mentality. But I'm very glad that everybody came to this man's defense. And the most important part, I'm glad there was no weapons, no guns was involved. And I'm glad, most importantly, nobody died, especially them white people. Because I guarantee you, had one of those white people died, y'all know, like I know, they would have made that the biggest issue versus what caused it in the first place. So I'm so glad for that. Nobody died. No weapons was drawn. Everybody just got a good old-fashioned, old-school ass whipping. It goes to show you, listen, old-school ass whipping still works. You don't always have to pull out a Glock to get your point across. So I'm just glad that situation didn't go no further than what it could have went. But anyway, I've kept y'all long enough. I am going to be uploading and putting up some more content relatively soon. No, y'all haven't heard from me in a while, so that's why I decided to do this live stream. Again, I appreciate all of y'all for all the support, even though I don't upload a lot, because I got another channel that I'm running as well. So I appreciate all the love, all the support. I thank y'all for still being loyal to my channel. I thank y'all for still being subscribed, still rocking with me. So y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. And I will be talking with y'all soon. Be blessed. Take care.